Dark Magician is easily one of the most iconic and recognizable monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's kinda cool to know that even after 20 plus years, Dark Magician can still be a very fun deck to play. Duel Power gave the deck a little bit more spice, and I'm excited to reveal to you guys an optimal build most suited for your local level area. They say that a magician never reveals his secrets, but I ain't Yugi and I ain't a magician, so I'm the TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, to go and destroy that subscribe button, but more importantly, go ahead and that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. I know I gotta get my face cam back. Also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. Also a mad shout out to our newest Patreon, Jose Rosado. Welcome to the clan. Make sure you add yourself to that Discord as well as much as me or Jest so I can get you to the top dog so you can take advantage of all your rewards. Without further ado, I present to you a Dark Magician deck profile for the April 2019 format. Okay guys, so revealing what's under that hat, I play 3 copies of Dark Magician. Actually, I think everybody's gonna play 3 copies of Dark Magician in their Dark Magician build. I prefer the Ultimate Rares because Ultimate Rare is my favorite rarity, but I also think the 2014 10s, the Anniversary Pack, and it's another one that's really awesome. I think that it has so many great arts. 8 artworks is, you're gonna have, you know, a couple of arts to play with. Next is 3 copies of Apprentice Illusion Magician. She's really important for allowing you to extend your combos, and she's really good at searching Dark Magician. I like that she's an honest, being able to send herself from the field or hand to the graveyard to give one of your spellcaster monsters attack, and she just fits so well with the deck. 1 copy of Dark Magician Girl. This is the new inclusion to the deck, and the reason why it's so good is because having Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl can be somewhat of a win con because you'll be able to destroy all of your opponent's spells and trap cards and their monsters. 3 copies of Magician's Rod. This is basically to search all of your cards that list Dark Magician in the card's name. And then another great thing about this, not only that it's pretty much our only normal summon, is that it can tribute a spellcaster monster when you activate a card on your opponent's turn to add it to our hand, so it can continuously be a normal summon. 1 copy of Magician of Dark Illusion. I actually do like this card because he becomes Dark Magician while on the field, and he can recur Dark Magician to your side of the field, as well as being able to spell summon him on your side of the field when you activate cards on your opponent's turn. Now I know we had pretty much of a blooper with Keeper of the Dragon, or I'm sorry, yeah, Keeper of the Dragon Magic in our live duel. I still have the jury hung out on him. I just completely just blanked on it. You can't special summon Dark Magician from your deck, but it would have been really cool if Keeper was able to special summon monsters from your deck to your side of the field to essentially make any other card in your hand a 1-card fusion. I do like Keeper of the Dragon Magic because it can discard Dark Magician from your hand to the graveyard and still search that polymerization and have that exact same effect. Sometimes being able to fusion summon is really powerful in this particular build. Next, I play 2 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasma. I'm just gonna start calling him Thanos. And this card actually serves multiple purposes. First thing is that he's a dragon, and all of your Dark Magician fusion monsters, for the exception, I think one of them, require dragon monsters. He also allows you to get the cards that you need into your hand and shuffle some cards that you might need into your deck. Maybe you have an extra Dark Magician that you don't need in your hand, you can put it inside your deck. Understandably though, not everybody can afford Thanos, so cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, Ghost Ogre, Snow Rabbit, Down Wrestler, Pankratrops are really good options if you guys can't play it. Lastly, I run 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This card can also be Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring if you guys prefer it, but I strongly feel that Effect Veiler is still the best hand trap in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, just because it can hit every single meta deck across the board. That is it for the monsters, ladies and gentlemen. For the spells, 3 copies of Dark Magical Circle. This is a very mandatory card because it allows you to fetch your Dark Magician cards, if not Dark Magician, and then it provides that disruption, being able to banish your opponent's cards every time you summon a Dark Magician. Now, another card, budget alert, guys, we play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance, and understandably, maybe we don't want to drop all that money between Thanos and Pot of Extravagance for a local level type deck. I completely feel you. Some other good cards, I wouldn't recommend Pot of Desires because, you know, sometimes banishing your Dark Magician Girl might change your entire game state, but I guess you could run Pot of Desires. Spellbook of Knowledge is also pretty good. Running a spellbook engine with 2 secrets, 2 knowledge, and maybe 1 or 2 little boy is pretty good. Pot of Duality is actually really good, but you can also run that in tandem with your Pot of Extravagance if you already have them. 3 copies of Call by the Grave. This was a card I wanted to drop down to 2, mainly because I feel that Dark Magician can only be hit with certain hand traps at certain given times. And then I remember one of the best cards in the deck can be Ash Blossom and Joy of Spring. And also on top of that, Call by the Grave isn't just a card to stop your opponent's hand traps. It can sometimes come in clutch to stop your opponent, period. So gotta run 3 Call by the Grave. Only 1 copy of Illusion Magic. This is a card that is somewhat good, then somewhat bad, then somewhat great again. By tributing a spellcaster, you can get those Dark Magicians from your hand, deck, or from your graveyard or your deck to your hand. It also can add up to 2 copies. So tributing monsters like Magician's Rod to get your Dark Magicians back from your graveyard or deck to your hand sometimes can be critical. There is not every single sequence where you need the Dark Magical Circle. Maybe you already have it, or you need your trap cards such as Eternal Soul or Magician's Navigation, but sometimes you might need that Dark Magician, and that's where Illusion Magic comes in. Only run 1 copy of Bond between teacher and student. My honest opinions on Bond. It is such a fun card. Like, it makes Dark Magician fun. Because it allows you to play cards like Dark Magician Girl, which does have some really cute plays inside of this deck, but it also gets you Dark Burning Magic, which is essentially a Harpy's Feather Duster and a Raigeki all in 1 card on your opponent's turn to disrupt them. I think that this card is obviously pretty searchable through your Dark Magical Circle and your Magician's Rod. It's also being able to get you some of your best cards to your side of the field, whether it's your Harpy's Feather Duster and Dark Magic Attack, or it's your Dark Burning Magic, which can destroy your opponent's card. I think it's solid at 1, but it does force you to play Dark Magician Girl, but at the same time, Dark Magician Girl does have a couple of instances on. I'll be able to show you guys later in the video. Next is 2 copies of Dark Magic Veil. So I don't play Monster Reborn. And the reason why is because Dark Magic Veil can spell summon that Dark Spellcaster monster from your hand to your side of the field, as well as from your graveyard to your side of the field. So I do sacrifice a little bit of versatility just to be able to spell summon Spellcaster monsters to my side of the field from my hand if I need to be. You guys can actually cut this for Pot of Duality if you're not feeling it, but allow me to explain why I play it. There are certain circumstances where you are going first and you need Dark Magician to your side of the field ASAP, so you can gain the effects of your Dark Magical Circle. And then there are other times where you need Dark Magician to your side of the field so you can resolve your bond between teacher and student. Well, I mean, Dark Magic Veil can spell summon that monster to your side of the field from your hand or graveyard, which allows you to actually play Dark Magician on your first turn. Something that I've noticed that this deck has really struggled with. 1 copy of Dark Burning Magic, 1 copy of Dark Magic Attack. There was a point in time where I was playing 2 of this card. I would actually side the second one, just in case if you're playing against a deck that plays no spell and trap cards, you could take advantage of playing another bond between teacher and student, and Dark Burning Magic, to continuously blow up their board. Other than that, I definitely think the 1-in-1 ratio is most optimal. 1 copy of Super Polymerization. This card's really funny in here. Cards like Borreload, Borrelsword are probably some of the most popular dragon monsters, and it'd be a shame if you just summoned Dark Magician or had a Dark Magician in your hand and then kind of use it for fusion material for some of your best cards from your extra deck. But also, since I do run Thanos and Keeper of the Dragon Magic, I can attack with more monsters and then Super Polymerization to summon those monsters to my side of the field for an additional attack, and on top of that, have a really good monster to my side of the field. Lastly is 1 copy of Polymerization for the Keeper of the Dragon Magic. To be honest, you can actually cut both of those cards, the Polymerization and the Keeper, and just have a 40 card deck. It was a late last minute addition. I didn't like that it didn't spell summon the Dark Magician from deck, obviously. I'm pretty sure everybody would have loved it that way. But I still think that it's worth considering. That is it for the spells. For the traps, we run 3 copies of Eternal Soul. This card basically doesn't have a drawback. It allows you to spell summon Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard to your side of the field every turn, and it makes your Dark Magicians immune. So it's like this, plus being able to summon your fusion monster inside of Dark Magician to Dragon Knight is a pretty good lock, because Dark Magician Dragon Knight protects your Eternal Soul, and your Dark Magician monsters are pretty much unaffected by your opponent's card effects. The only drawback is that cards like Nightmare Phoenix really do exist, so they'll really be pushing to destroy your Eternal Soul that way, which is why you kind of have to like a little bit rely on Dark Magician to Dragon Knight. 3 copies of Magician Navigation. Now, I was a firm believer of this card at 2, but this card is probably the best discard target of all time, unless you don't have a Dark Magician monster in your graveyard for Keeper of Dragon Magic, or you can summon Dark Magician from your deck and your opponent can't catch on to it. But seriously, Magician Navigation and Eternal Soul gives me 6 ways to summon Dark Magician from my hand to my side of the field. It also allows me to spell summon Dark Magician Girl or Prince Illusion Magician, which can gain me so much advantage. But the best thing about Magician's Navigation is that banishing from the graveyard is free, and that effect I mean, I just can't iterate how many times or reiterate how many times that your opponent wants to activate a critical spell or trap card, and you're like, nah, fam, we're gonna go ahead and navigation this card from the graveyard, and they never see it coming. Lastly is only 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Now, Infinite Impermanence does conflict with Thanos, but I didn't really see that being the case. I think that Infinite Impermanence is great. Also, being able to activate Infinite Impermanence and then use your my apologies, your illusion, dark magic, magician of dark illusion, my apologies, to summon himself to a side of the field, it felt kind of cool. I really do like Infinite Impermanence in this deck, but again, obviously, Infinite Impermanence is a pretty expensive card. Solemn Strikes are really good options. You can even just play other hand traps if you so wish. That is it for the traps, ladies and gentlemen. For the extra deck, we play 3 copies of Ebon Illusion Magician. Now, when I was going through my extra deck, I realized that there were a couple of cards that I didn't want to pot of extravagance, and Ebon is one of them. Why? Well, because Ebon can be made 2 specific ways. It can be made by using a rank 6 spellcaster monster, which actually does come up because we have Dark Magician Girl, who can summon herself to her side of the field for almost free, and it also can be used by using 2 level 7s. Now, if you use Thanos or Dino Wrestler Pacrotrops, who's a 7, and another 7 on your side of the field, which could be Dark Magician, you can summon Dark Magician to your side of the field and gain the ability to be able to banish a card on the field when your when one of your normal monsters declares an attack. My apologies. Really love this card. I didn't want to lose it if I were to extravagance, but I don't mind losing almost anything else in my extra deck. That goes for number 11 Big Eye, which does come in clutch, snatching my opponent's best monster. Ebon High Magician, this is a card that you probably can just cut. I thought in theory, it's really good because it does allow you to activate quick play or trap cards from your hand by detaching material, and then it does replenish itself when it's destroyed, but it's like, doesn't really happen. Naruto the Moral Leader. This is the card that I was talking about that actually gets you into your Ebon since we don't have Magi Girl. But even if you don't get into your Ebon, just making this card is pretty good because it gives you a negate. So it's not that bad. Only run 2 copies of Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. You can cut any of the 2 fusion monsters that I'm going to show you guys for the 3rd if you're just really skeptical by Pot of Extravagance, or if you guys just really want to, make sure that you see it. But I think that this is a solid number. The odds of you banishing all 3 of these and both of these, I just don't see it happening. Banishing both of these is still like, I don't know. I don't mind banishing 1 because obviously you'll never banish 1, but playing 3, it just doesn't feel right. 1 copy of Amulet Dragon, really good against the Sky Striker matchup. That's all I can really say about this card. It's amazing against the Sky Striker matchup. Being able to banish all your opponent's spell cards, that's pretty cool. And then 1 copy of Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. Yes, you can actually make this card by doing the exact same way as you would make him, but with Dark Magician Girl and Keeper of the Dragon Magic, or your Super Polymerization and a Dragon Monster. She also has a pretty good effect to be able to destroy a card, a face-up card on your opponent's side of the field during either player's turn, so she's essentially a Zodiac Dryden. I just kind of like her. I think she's a pretty good card. For the link, we won 1 copy of Borolo Dragon. This is actually inspiration from my boy Matty Ice. I wasn't going to play this card, but like thinking about it, yeah, Borolo Dragon is pretty good. Nightmare Unicorn, just because it's a generic link. We Witch's Apprentice. A lot of times you're going to go into this card, and it's going to give all your monsters 500 attack, which is pretty good. Beacon for the Underworld is like stupid underrated in this deck. I really don't know. Just making her and then putting a counter on your cards like your Eternal Soul or your Magician's Navigation, or not, I'm sorry, your Dark Magical Circle, can go values. It can go a long way when you know your opponent's siding in those Twin Twisters, or once the Dino Wrestler Pranker drops you. I mean, she provides protection, and a lot of times you can use 2 monsters with different names to obviously gain her effects. And then last is 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix for that back row disruption. Now, there is a card that I would strongly recommend that you guys play, especially if you guys are going ahead and playing the Spellbook engine. That's going to be Crawley, the First Prophecyr. Card's just really good. I really don't have anything else to say about it. Some other cards that I want to talk about, possibly Summon Sorceress, because there are a lot of times where you can put 3 spellcaster monsters on the field, like Apprentice, Rod, and Dark Magician Girl. Then you can just go into Summon Sorceress and put a Dark Magician and summon your, and do all crazy cool things like that. So that's a card that you guys can consider. Other rank 7s like Mega Phantom Beast Draco Sack is really cool. One thing that I wanted to play was Quintet Magician, because I mean, he has a cool effect, but I mean, that's just really for swagger points. I mean, this is a fun deck. Dark Cavalry is a card that you can use if you see a lot of warriors in your meta. And then I feel that this card should be bought out at some point in time. not gonna go ahead and talk. I mean, like, it uses a fusion monster and a dark monster to summon it, and it allows you to negate your opponent monster effects. I mean, I just thought it was really good if you're playing Super Poly. But as you guys can see, I don't run any Super Poly targets other than obviously making Dark Magician, which is fine. You guys can play those targets as well, such as the Swamp or whatever you guys want to, if you want to make polymerization a little bit more viable against your matchups like your Salamine Great matchup and whatnot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so for the combos, Dark Magician isn't necessarily combo centric. The biggest problem with Dark Magician is that, like, there's no cards in the deck that will gain an advantage instantly. Like, there isn't a card that allows you to add like 2 Dark Magician cards from your deck to your hand upon its activation or summon. If there was, then the deck would probably, actually the deck would be a lot more viable, like by a ton. Still, nonetheless, there are some key cards, and you do run 3 of all your key cards, so seeing them should be relatively easier than most. So Magician's Navigation, Eternal Soul, Dark Magical Circle, Dark Magician, and Magician's Rod. Now, opening any combination of these 3 cards, well, I guess opening these 3 isn't that great unless you open the Dark Magician, but opening a good ideal combination of these 3 cards is amazing, especially opening your Dark Magical Circle. Let's say, for example, I had these 3 cards in my hand. I'm pretty much set because I can activate my Dark Magical Circle to fetch my Dark Magician. And even if I can't fetch my Dark Magician, you can normal summon your Magician's Rod to add your illusion magic, tributing your Magician's Rod to add up to 2 copies of Dark Magicians in your hand, and you're all set, allowing Eternal Soul to special summon that Dark Magician to your side of the field to banish a card on your opponent's side of the field. One of the better things to do is to have the Navigation instead, because not only do you get Dark Magician to your side of the field, you get an Apprentice Illusion Magician, which gets you another Dark Magician to your hand, which you can later use to pop off with plays and whatnot. And also Navigation goes to your graveyard, so it can prevent those critical spells and trap cards from activating. And on top of that, of course, you can use your Magician's Rod to tribute one of your monsters and put it in your hand, preferably Dark Magician, to put it in your hand so you can summon it again to add an Eternal Soul or whatnot, whatever you need to be able to bring back your Dark Magician. So on to the basic combos. It requires little 2-card combo, requires Keeper of the Dragon of Magic and Dark Magician in your hand. Dark Magician must be in your hand or Dark Magician Girl for this specific combo. What you are going to do is normal summon your Keeper of the Dragon Magic and then pitch Dark Magician to the graveyard to add polymerization from your deck to your hand. Revealing from your extra deck any of your monsters that list Dark Magician in its card text. We're going to go ahead and reveal Dark Cavalry. Even though we don't play it, it doesn't matter. You can reveal anything. 2 special summon that Dark Magician back to your side of the field. And now your polymerization for your Dragonic Keeper and Dark Magician for a fusion summon into your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. That is basically a 2-card combo that gets you a 3,000 monster to protect your back row. Another combo, this one I actually like just a little bit more. It's going to require 2 Apprentice Illusion Magicians and any 1 card in your hand to discard. I do like Magician's Navigation as a discard target because you will have a Dark Magician on your side of the field, and it's a pretty nifty combo. So what you're going to do is activate Apprentice Illusion Magician. You're going to ditch the Magician's Navigation to spell summon Apprentice Illusion Magician to your side of the field, and then use its effect to add Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. Now you're going to use Apprentice Illusion Magician number 2, pitch your Dark Magicians to your graveyard to summon number 2 to your hand. And this is the crazy thing. This card says, if this card is special summoned from your hand, you can discard 1 card. Or if it's normal summon, you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding 1 card. If it's normal summon or special summon, you can add 1 Dark Magician from your deck to your hand during damage calculation, yada, yada, yada. But the biggest thing about this card is that it doesn't say once per turn. So as many times as you summon it, is as many times as you can add Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. I just thought that was really cool that at least they gave us a somewhat busted card. So you're going to summon both Apprentice to your side of the field, use them both for an Exceed summon, into your Naruto the Moral Leader, and then into your Ebon Illusion Magician. Use Ebon's effect, detaching a Dark Magician, Illusion Magician, whatever, it doesn't matter, to special summon Dark Magician to your side of the field. Now you have a monster that can banish a card when your normal monster Dark Magician attacks, and you also have Magician's Navigation if you discarded it with your Apprentice Illusion Magician live to be able to negate your opponent's spell or trap card. Now this is a pretty much bigger combo. It's going to require you to have Dark Magician, Dark Magic Veil, Bond between Teacher and Student, and a Apprentice Illusion Magician in your hand, but you're going to get some pretty interesting results. What you are going to do is use your Apprentice Illusion Magician, discarding the Dark Magician to spell summon herself to her side of the field, and then activate your effect of Apprentice Illusion Magician to add any other Dark Magician. and you're pretty much gonna get what you put out. So activate not activate bond between student. Activate your dark magic veil to spell summon your dark magician from your graveyard to your side of the field, and then use your bond between teacher of student to spell summon dark magician girl to your side of the field. You're also going to be allowed to set either where's that card? You're going to be allowed to set either your dark magic attack or your dark burning attack to your side of the field. I would recommend, if you're going first, dark burning attack, and you can just end on your board right here. But if you're going second and you want to wipe your opponent out and win on that turn, setting the dark magic attack and then activating it to destroy all your opponent's spell and trap cards is critical. Next, you're going to use both of these monsters for an Exceed summon. And we're going to assume that they have a monster on the field that you want to get rid of. So, of course, we're going to go into Naruto, the Moral Leader. Where's that Naruto? I just had it in my hand, didn't I? Trying to find cards like this sometimes can be problematic, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to make Naruto the Moral Leader. And then our Ebon Illusion Magician. From there, we're going to go ahead and detach the Dark Magician Girl to special summon Dark Magician from our deck source out of the field. And now, in this particular sequence, we do have 7,500 damage between Ebon Illusion Magician and 2 Dark Magicians. If we can provide another monster on the field, or if our opponent took damage recently, this is game. The best way to do it is, hypothetically, if our opponent had, or if we had, or even if our opponent did have a link arrow pointing down, you can make Ebon Illusion Magician in the main monster zone, and these 2 monsters can be used for another Exceed summon. Obviously, Ebon Illusion Magician wouldn't be the best unless you didn't search your Dark Magician, but you'd be able to special summon either Ebon if you didn't search it, Ebon High. You can make Big Eye if you want to take another one of your opponent's monsters. You're in a pretty good spot to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Regardless. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, and if you didn't, let us know in the comment section what we could do to be better. I will also be having a test game for my Patreons, or test dance for my Patreons, so be on the lookout if you're part of that. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day, like I am.